Hey everybody. So I'm here wanting to show you my next little Zero Platinum build. Now I've actually been holding off on this one for a while because I'd hope so with Tekkra Encore releasing, a custom lighting bug came out. So if you use the Warframe Articulas with a loadout that has an ephemera on it for custom lighting, that's currently broken. Whatever color you pick for the lighting, it's showing up only as bright green right now, hence my kitchen back here, which looks like that I need to call in the Ghostbusters for. But after a period of time, I decided, you know what, I'm just going to record this as is with the broken lighting. It's not a big deal for this build. I am making use of some custom lighting. It's just, it's going to show up bright green rather than the color I wanted, so... But yeah, let's get started. So what we're doing is, last build video I did, I showed you guys building a distillery, home distillery thing. This is my default one I have right here currently, just simple two setup thing going. But my thoughts were, if you're gonna have like home distillery for like homebrew, you should probably have a bar to go alongside that. Which here's my mostly finished one here. With that bright green lighting, I actually had as a dark blue instead, but that's the only thing that's really broken in this build right now. So a couple options that I've messed around with that you can try. There might be other options you can try as well for the bar. I'll first show you something I didn't do, then I'll show you something I did do, and why I went with the one that I ended up using. But one popular choice that I've seen other people do this one online, is using the Duviri tables, two of them, side by side. So let me move this one out of the way. So literally it's just one intersecting with the other, so you have the rounded curves on each side. And that's your table slash bar top. And then underneath it you can have like a... Actually, it's a great deal of things you can put underneath it. Probably one of the better examples or better things you can put into right now is we got some really nice wooden furniture with the Tekkra Encore update that you can use. So here I have the dining table that I stuck underneath. Not quite at max size, it was pretty close, but I made it just large enough so that it reaches to the top of the table at the bottom. We can have probably two of these side by side intersecting with each other, and that should cover the whole, like, under the table for this case. If you wanted to make the bar a bit wider than it is, you can just take one of these, push it out so you can have a wider bar. But you probably want to have something covering these little bottom parts of the Duviri table here to make the bar look cleaner. Or maybe you want to make use of that in your bar too, your choice. But so yeah, intersecting Duviri tables for the top, these wooden furniture pieces you can get from Velmir are a great choice for having the bottom front of the bar. Another item that you can pick, also from Velmir, if you want something more of a darker wood color, the Arcane Ticket Machine. Let me pull this all the way out, actually. I should better let me get a new one out. Arcane Ticket, here we are. So this has like a darker wood color than the wooden furniture, but flip this upside down. That's a nice wooden block slash dark color block that you can work with for at the bottom of your bar. Another thing also from Velmir that you can try out, I have this large couch that I tucked underneath. Now, I believe I had this as the largest size. Oh, it's actually not the largest size. But I made this just large enough to get to fit the full width of the bar I have right here. And you can... I could make it bigger if, let's say, I had my bar table wider. I'm just going to leave it as is. But one of the things I kind of liked is having kind of a two-tone, like, or two designed effect on the bar. So at the bottom part of it is kind of this plush design from the couch. This is the large couch, which is like the three-seater. It's orange. And having like the top part of the front being kind of a wood panel-y effect too. So it's a nice two-tone thing going with that. I really like that. If you want something other than the orange, there are other couch options available. So we got the armchair in white. You can just have multiple of these side by side. And what I'd recommend is you might want to flip these upside down. Particularly if you're doing like the two-tone thing I'm doing where I have the couch at the bottom, the wood at the top. It's going to look a bit cleaner if you flip it upside down, because otherwise you might have some pillows or pillow cushions sticking out through geometry. But if you want like the white fabric color other than the orange leather / fabric color, I think it's a suede leather there. You can put multiple of those side by side under your bar. There's also, I believe, a gray one that's the two-seater. Let me find that. Is it just couch, I think? Is it just called couch? Somewhere in here. The Velmir series sells a two-seater, a one-seater, and a three-seater. Two-seater couch. Yeah, this one's more of a gray color. Again, you might want to flip this one upside down. Oh, that was done horribly. Let me do that again. Oh, it's because I have camera facing on. That's why it's doing that. Surface. Okay, now it's more stable. But yeah, you can put, like, either use one of these or have, like, two or however many side by side if you want more of a grayish color. Like this is kind of a suede leather too on that design on that one. But yeah, just put in your tables, tuck these underneath the tables. You might have to do the rotation trick where you, let's say you can't get it pushed fully underneath the table. There's a trick where if you just select an item, rotate it roughly, let's say, maybe not 45 degrees, let's say 15 or 30 degrees. And then just use constrained movement, transform local, and just do a gradual shimmy until you get in place where you want it. And then rotate it back to see if it's exactly where you want it. But yeah, I've covered that trick in other build videos as well. It's a great trick for if you're having, like, you want items to intersect and they are intersecting because they're colliding with each other. This almost always works. It doesn't work 100% of the time. But yeah, a couple other options. I actually have it over here. And actually, let me see if I can get slightly better lighting over here. Give me just a moment. Temporary light emitting object. How well does this work? Oh, not incredibly well. Good enough. So a couple other items I hear. These also came from Techrod Encore. If you want something maybe not so traditional woodsy effect, like the couch and the wood candles over there, you can take the arcade machines, flip them upside down, and I have here two of them side by side with the ends of the bar, so you kind of have like a more futuristic look. It doesn't fully match color scheme wise with the Duviri table, but there might be some other things you might want to use instead of the Duviri table for your bar top. Just the glass gold for this table just happens to look really nice. Another option with caveat is if you go to Flair, they are selling a bunch of musical cases, equipment, and whatnot, like this thing right here. The downside of this one is the rotation point. So, place this right here, and I'll show you. So the rotation point of this is at the bottom of the item. So, so the bottom of the item being where the wheels are. All of these cases. This musician case design has the rotation point right where the wheels are, right at the bottom of the item. So, unfortunately, Let's say I want to push these wheels into the floor, into the ceiling, into a wall. It will not let me. I'll show you that real quick. So that's roughly the wheels into the floor. You're going to get this error message that's not the right wording. Hey, you don't have enough remaining capacity to place this decoration. Incorrect error message, but it pretty much just means like, hey, you can't push this. You can't push a rotational point of an object below the floor, into the ceiling, into the wall. That's just not really a bug, it's a known thing, so. But yeah, but one thing you can do with these instead is, instead of pushing those wheels into a floor, ceiling, wall, you can push them into other objects with no problem, which is what I had over here earlier. Let's see if I can place this again. See if it will let me place it. I probably should not have moved that. I'm probably going to have to do that little trick I mentioned earlier about the rotation. We'll see. Let's see if it'll let me do it. Oh! It works fine. Cool. But yeah, that is something you might even want it to do for your bar, is instead of just having like the very tabletop, maybe you just want to have a few of these side by side. Let me see if I have another one. I do not. Let me see if I have any of those. I do not. Let me double check. But yeah, these, you don't buy these with credits, you buy these with a currency whose name I'm for something heartstrings, I believe, that you can only get from playing the new stage defense mission where you're defending Flare. So it is a bit of a grind, unfortunately. And I believe these are like either 20 or 30 each for each one of these cases. So yeah, it is a bit of a grind to get those. Let me see if I have another one of these placed somewhere. Oh, this will work. I was experimenting over there. It's relatively close to the same size. But yeah, these may be able to have intersect of each other. Let me see if I can intersect the wheels of each other. I'll call that good enough. Yeah, so the wheels are, I have two of these intersecting with each other. This could work as a bar as well, if you want to like put a bunch of these side by side, so you have more of like a silvery grayscale type bar instead of the gold top with the glass of the Divinity. So another option you got is, we got a lot of great items that came with Tekrad Encore. This just me playing around. Okay, so another option, and this is the one I went with for reasons. What I'm using over here is actually two Zerman benches, one on top of another. And for mine, I'm using the curved outward, but let me show it to you. Let me first put this stuff away. You can use it with any Zerman bench. There's a great deal of options, depending on how you want your bar to be shaped. So I will pick, I'm gonna go with a smaller one. Eeny, meeny, miny, mo. I think I used curved outward for mine. Let's do this one. So we got curved outward 90 degrees. So I got one of those. I'm just going to leave it at default size. I have two of these. So you put one on the bot. You just put one down as is. Take the next one. Flip it 180. And just intersect them. Have that little cushion part intersect as much as you can. So roughly like that. Oh god, did I first try it? Came pretty... Yeah, I think I did. How did that happen? But yeah, so here's your basic bar setup. You can go keep the design as is if you want. But, actually, it does look pretty nice. nice simple design there. But the reason why I like this bar design the most is because when you go to the back of the bar, you actually have bar prep space with the way this is set up. So I made use of that with my design. I will be showing you what I did back here later. But this is my definite preferred bar because you have that prep space, which if you go to out to a bar somewhere, they probably have that sort of thing where the bartenders are preparing stuff. So now, one thing I did with my bar, if you go over here, now what I have actually has some paid items, but I'll show you some non-paid alternatives. I wanted to cover this grayish blue cushioniest design of the bar with something else, just give it a different color scheme in the front. So what I personally went with is I used these called display convex. These are actually paid items. But there is a non-paid, non-platinum alternative, which is these display argyle ones that you can get from Barrow. But what I wanted to have some sort of like mostly solid pattern to like cover the oh, it's not gonna let me do that. I'll show it over here. Cover this gray design. I wanted something more of a woodsy color, and I had Zimmerman items in other areas as well, so I wanted something more woodsy because I have other parts of the bar that are more woodsy in design. But yeah, let me place these. I'll put on my example bar here, if they'll let me. Now, it's not going to be as clean cut as it was with that display convex one. There is going to be still parts of the design showing. But what you can do is just get it on a low rotation. Make sure we bump it to 1. You can use however many of these you want. You can stack them on top of each other. So roughly like that. Let me get the other one over here. And I'll show you what picture I used for these in a second as well. But this will just cover up the design. And you can cover it up with other things as well, like if you have various posters, like the Tenno School posters, you can cover it up with a bunch of those side by side. This is just the first thing that came to mind when I was thinking, like, I have this convex shaped thing. What do I want to cut? And I want to cover it. Oh, I'll use these display convex thing to cover it. But if you have design glyphs, you can place those on top if they're like, although some of those glyphs are transparent in parts, so it'll still show the design underneath, but there's a lot of options here. Like, actually, maybe you have Prex cards from Twitch drops or things you found out in the wild, you can put those on it. There's a display argyle thing, that's what I just have here. And actually, I will put a third one up and show you the picture I used here, in case you want that exact one. Close enough. So the exact one I use, I remember it came from the Antrati Labs on Deimos. Let's see if I can find it. I think it was one I had either at the top or the bottom. I think it was this one. Was it this one? Yeah, it was this one. Yes, this pattern in the bottom right here. So let's scale the image. I either had it at 3 or 4. I do not remember. I think this one, for some reason, 0.23 is popping up in my head for this one. I might be incorrect there. Let's give it a try. Yeah, that's about right. 0. So that's roughly the same as the one I have on the left side. So it still has like that glow around there on those, but that's another it's a possibility you can use for covering up that. There's, like I said, there's Tenno school posters. I might have one of those somewhere. Oh, I actually don't have any extra ones. But maybe you got the Pride displays, you can use that to cover it up if you want to. If you bought a whole bunch of these Lunar Renewal calligraphy posters from the market over Lunar New Year, you can put a ton of those on there. Or you can just leave it as is and not cover it up. But also one thing I wanted to show you. Let me, oops, move this one, not that one. These are sometimes very hard to select. Here we go. I'll show you one other thing I did over here. So, this coffee cup thing, this is not a display glyph. This is something you can earn entirely in-game. So, also came out with Tekrot Encore. There is the Temporal Archimedia that Kaya is hosting, also in particular the Elite Temporal Archimedia. So you can earn a currency. I think you actually have to go Elite in order to get the currency for this, unfortunately, because the number of points you get from having certain, like, oh, I used only certain frames, only certain weapons, I put these restrictions on myself. In order to get enough points to get that currency, which like picks cards or something like that, the name is something like that, I think you actually have to play on Elite, unfortunately, but you can buy something from Kaya's shop called Display Peely Picks. And in Temporal Archimedia, you can unlock and buy these Peely Picks sticker packs, which give you things that are essentially like glyphs, but you apply these stickers to your Temporal Archimedia to give you certain bonuses, give you certain buffs. Like one of them is if you die, there's a one-time chance for Velimir or Minerva to revive you, and that can be done every 60 seconds at its default level, stuff like that. But that's where this coffee cup came from. Let me show you some of the others I have. So it's done similarly to the display glyphs. Swap sticker, pick different sticker. I like the coffee cup because it kind of fit in the bar, but let's say I want to go with Pizza Mouse instead. There's Pizza Mouse. Let's say I want to go with, I don't know. Let's pick one. Cat Scratch Fever, this one. Another possibility. Let's play around a bit. Now, one note for you guys who've already have been playing Elite Temporal Archimedia and maybe have a fair amount of stickers already. One thing I have noticed is if you have a sticker that is at its like second level, so there's the regular, there's shiny, and there's chromatic. Let's say I have, for example, this Panic Call one. I have it sparkly. It's not shiny, it's sparkly. Chromatic's still the third one though. It doesn't appear to affect how it's shown on these displays. Like you might see different, like you kind of see this shiny effect if you look closely on the sticker here. It's kind of rotating. But actually seeing it on the Peely Picks displays, it doesn't seem to do anything. So like if you look on the right side over here, I have Fibonacci, and then I have Ivara. Here from a glyph. The one on the left of Vivara, that is a display glyph using it's a creator's display, a creator's glyph. And Fibonacci here, this is one of the Peely Pick stickers, which is regular. It's not like sparkly or chromatic yet. So you see a little bit of a wavy, like shiny effect on the display glyph. You're not seeing that on the Peely Picks, and you're not even seeing that on the sparkly Peely Picks. So just an FYI. But yeah, let me change this back to the coffee cup because I really like the coffee cup. But I happen to like having some sort of design on the front of the bar, so I ended up with the Peely Picks. I tried it with the display glyphs as well. And actually the reason why I have Ivara over here like this is it looks pretty damn nice up here, actually. I was messing around with different glyph designs. That one I thought looked really nice. So I had that on there for a while. Another one I tried out, which I thought looked really nice. There's actually a couple looked really nice. This one, Annoying Killer, I thought looked really nice. There's another one in here as well I thought looked really nice. Let's see if I can find it real quick. The ones I thought that looked the best were the ones that had as little, like, transparent background as possible. Those seemed to look the best. I can't remember which one it was. It's up my head. Yeah, I can't remember which one it was up on my head, but yeah, this one, the killer one with the guy with the coffee cup and the big smile on his face, those both looked really nice. But in the end, I settled for the coffee cup because I really liked how this looked. You got the gold matching kind of the gold flooring here, plus bar, drink, coffee. I liked how that looked, so I went with that one. Okay, so as for stuff to put on the bar, unfortunately, we're very limited in options for like drinks, bottles, paraphernalia type stuff. So I put in some of what was available. So we have here Aged Claret of Danas. This is an item. It is Lemurian themed. This is sold from Barrow. So if Barrow is available as you're watching this right now, he might not be selling this, but worst case, this will always be available from Barrow's TennoCon relay. Personally, whenever this comes back, I'm planning on stocking up because I only had one of these in my orbiter. I ended up swiping it from where I had it in my orbiters so I could place it here. This cube here, I just thought it was a nice design. I swiped this from the Dormizone. It's normally a platinum item, but the Dormizone does have, by default, some platinum items just sitting there for you can steal them, put them elsewhere if you want. I've done that in other builds before as well. Other drink type stuff, Zariman cups. These are almost shot glass shaped. Another one, these don't quite work. I call this a close enough. The Zariman beaker set, if you flip it upside down, they almost look kind of like martini glasses in a way. But you do need to, unless you want floating glasses, you do need to tuck it into the surface a bit, because that one of those is kind of small, or kind of short. Another option, Duviri Flask, I just put that over there as well. You could also have the Orican tea set. You get this from Teshin. You can buy this with Steel Path Essence. I think it's 15 Steel Path Essence, so it's not too bad price-wise. And occasionally it's also been a Twitch drop as well, which is, I actually have multiple of these. I've gotten at least a couple from a Twitch drop in the past year. So it's a possibility from getting that from a Twitch drop as well. Random food-esque drink stuff, Zariman food container, Solaris food can decoration type stuff. Now if I go behind the bar to bar prep space, again I got the martini glass type things. The scale, I figured, kind of a stretch, but my first thought was maybe Drifter was thinking this, not so much Arthur or whatever companion you have. A weighing ingredient sort of thing. Same with the test tube station and the flask. My thought was maybe Drifter thought something like that would be needed, but maybe not necessarily needed for a bar. Three-Pure Zariman Tumbler Cup, another drinking option. This one I believe I swiped this from the Dormizone as well. Zariman beverage dispenser, so bar, drink type stuff. A lot of Zariman items. Zariman bottle type thing. And yeah, all the Zariman items we're showing here are non-platinum. Another Barrow item we have here, and this one I just wanted to have some sort of food-esque preparation type thing. Silverware plating type thing. Krish's dinnerware. This is a Barrow item. It's also Lemurian themed. Again, worst case, you can buy it when the TennoCon relay is around if you bought the ticket for that. Now, another thing I did is wanted to have some sort of a slicing station. Let's say somebody's like slicing citrus or slicing something else for like mixed drinks. So I want to have a cutting board type thing. So we had the Zimmerman knife here on the cutting board, but what I used is the boot trophy, which you can buy this from, let me see, let me look at the trophy real quick, if I think of another one. These you can get from, I forget who in Fortuna. I want to say the business, it might be somebody else. But yeah, the boots you can get from fishing. If you have like a bad catch, one of these might pop up instead. But what I did is I just flipped it upside down. And just that back surface is now your cutting board. And it's a decent size for like the prep space that we have down here. It fits in there pretty well. Now couple other things I have back here. So one, I was showing the arcade ticket machine earlier for like, hey, you got this dark wood color, or you have this darker grayish, brownish type color, solid color that you can use for like, hey, maybe you want to tuck it under your bar. One thing I did instead was I created a bar back table just by putting two of these together, just have them fully intersecting. So that's just, yeah, back bar for putting extra drink / food themed stuff back here. The very stool is just a random decoration. I just wanted to put something there. But yeah, so if you have a bar, let's say you perhaps also want to have bar stools. So I made some example ones. I'm literally, pardon the pun, I am calling these stool samples because they are samples of bar stools. But my thought for the top of the bar stool, for something cushiony, that Entrati Ottoman thing that you can get from Bird 3 just stood out as like the clear winner for something that's going to be for a top of a bar stool. There are other options you can try as well, like, let me show it back here because I already have one out. Perhaps you want to use the Zimmerman Globe Base. Let me see if I have an extra one of those actually. As your seat instead. I don't know if I have an extra one of those. But at least for a cushiony one, that Ottoman was the clear winner. Oh, I do have this. Cool. But make that large. Flip it upside down. So depending on how your theme is, that's another possible bar stool topper. There's potentially other options out there, but this just stood out as a clear winner. Now for the actual support of it, there's multiple things I tried out. All these are free or they're all free. A lot of these are Barrow items, just ideas I was playing with. So Barrow item. Luxem Ornament, Barrow. Pedestal Prime, I've never actually used this apart from my distillery grip here, but again, Barrow. Katir Lux Pedestal, Barrow. Pedestal Umbra, Barrow. Now, I forget which one of these. There's a pedestal from Barrow, at least one of these. You can actually buy with credits instead of ducats, but I can't remember which one it was. And also the, if you're going to use this Katir one right here, you might want to make it smaller than I did because it is kind of sticking out of the Ottoman. I just left it as is. Also a little further, another Barrow one. It's the Ves Luxem one again, but I flipped it upside down. And I embedded this little glowy thing at the bottom here into the Ottoman, so another possible design. But yeah, those are all potential Barrow options. Now some non-Barrow ones. First one, floor lamp. You can get this from Velimir. I had to make this kind of small in order to, and thin, in order for the floor lampshade to not poke out of the Ottoman. Like, let me show you real quick. Make it just slightly larger so we have a better supporting stool. Whoops. Let's try this again. It doesn't take much for this to poke out of the Ottoman, unfortunately. But I wanted to have the bottom of the floor lamp showing a support. Unfortunately, the yard left with the support bar for the bar stool is pretty thin. So It's an option. It's personally not my favorite, but it does have the gold with gold design matching, so I do like that. Another possible option are tried and true Zariman tube lights. This is just one I have in place. It's just intersecting, I believe, just briefly. Like, let me pull this out for a second. So these tube lights have that little tapered thing on the bottom and the top. So you can just tuck one below the floor and you can tuck one into the ottoman. If you want to have it so that it's not two-toned, you can take another tube light. Just have them intersect with each other, and it'll hide some of it, of the two-tone stuff. Let's see if I can hide all the gold right there. Did I get all of it? Well, I got most of it. So I'd probably have to play around with that, hiding with the gold, but if you want one tone instead of two-tone, you can just have two of those intersecting with each other, and you can get either the brownish gray or you can get that bright gold only. Now, my absolute favorite one, again going to Zariman items, Zariman generator light. I like this because it's a nice thickness for the pole support for this, even though it's not color matching. Plus, we can have a nice base at the bottom here as well. So literally what you do is you take this, flip it upside down, so push the globe light below the light part below the floor, and push the pipe up to the ottoman. I believe I have this so that if I push it up any further, it will actually show on top. Let's see. Yep. But supports a good thickness for supporting like the width of this ottoman. I like the base right here. So that one's my personal favorite. As well as second favorite, I'd have to say I'd have to go with the Zariman tube light. These other ones, the barrel ones are fancy. They do have, some of these do have a nice gold with gold effect. This one, it probably isn't very practical because you have moving parts. You might injure somebody. This one gets selected. The pedestal primus, they would probably be the most practical of the gold tinted barrel ones. And yeah, again, this one, the floor lamp, good free option, one item, one of the new items, but it is a little thin. You might be able to make this bigger, but that might be a little bit too big for a bar stool. Yeah, that's a little big for a bar stool. I kind of sized it out for this, which may or may not be the default size. Yeah, that's the default size. So you might want to make these bigger, smaller, based on how tall your bar is. I just went for, like, again, these are, as I call them, pardon the pun, stool samples. So you can adjust the sizes as you will. Okay, so the next part, we had the back of the bar. Now the first thing I did is, and I've shown this technique before, Zariman wall panels. Let me see if I have an extra one. You can push these into the wall in your back room, wherever else, if you want to have like a custom wall color, custom wall design. And the back room has the nice effect of it will even take some of the sketches or even worn out parts of the wall, and it'll actually show it on top of this, which I really like. So you got some of the sketch stuff showing here, you got some of the here. I've done this on other walls before in the past, so like here instead of using Zariman wall panel, I use the white green artesian pots, and you have the sketch design, glowing designs from that cement wall in the back actually pushing through, so it looks really nice. But I ended up going with the wall design here because I like, well, not the wall design, the wooden panel wall design here because I like the look of it for the bar. Because I had kind of gold stuff here, I have some other gold stuff showing, so I figured the wood with the gold would be a nice match for this. But, so the design I have right here is actually inspired by a bar that is somewhat near my area. That is actually, it's this dive bar that is known for having on display in the back of the main bar a bunch of the owners in packaged Barbie dolls. It's just all along the back of the bar. I call it the doll wall. I don't know if that's the official name of it, but that's what I call it. So my first thought was, let's make kind of an equivalent with the doll wall with some shelving of sorts. So my two favorite options for shelving, and there's plenty other available for this as well. This is just what I happen to be using. You got Entrati's Serpentine Chair, Entrati's Stool. These you can get from Bird 3. Let me just clone one of these. Let's do the chair first. The chair ordinarily has a back, but you can push that through the wall. So you have something that looks just kind of like fancy shelving. The stool, you can also push that a bit into the wall as well. Now the downside for this one is, let me push this a little bit forward to show you. Part of your shelving doesn't actually have a shelf right here. So one thing I did to work around that, so we're not left with like a blank space that we're putting items on top of, is I took, to add to that shelving, and these you can get from Ticker and Fortuna, the Rail Agent Manifest decorations. Now these, if you want to, you can even just use straight a bunch of these as your shelves as well. I actually see that utilized an awful lot. But just to give this particular shelf an actual bottom, I just tucked one of these into here. I think I made it slightly larger as well. That's about as large as it goes. So there's an actual surface that you can place items on top. But yeah, going with the doll wall thing, I picked quote-unquote dolls that are available in the game. So we have floofs. We have various noggles that I've gotten either Twitch drops, from events, from ones that you can buy for credits or whatnot, ones that you've gotten from finishing quest. A bunch of various ones of those. There's a lot of noggles in here. The tea seeper, just another drinking things. Got another flask here. I think these are just examples anyway. I think the two floof I know of, the Lillian and Killian ones, came from Nightwave. The doggles, these I think might actually be platinum items that haven't been available for Twitch Drop yet, but just a personal thing, I just wanted something matching the floofs. These don't need to be here. These are all the stuff I have in here is just example decorations, so you don't need to be using for this. You can just use whatever you have. Same with the Warframe Articula. These are pretty common as weekend Twitch Drop items, so you can get them for free, but they are technically market items. Looking up, I think I have another Articula here. So this one, I was doing the trick with the custom lighting. I had a kind of a dark blue lighting that here looked really nice, but since the custom lighting is broken, it's showing up as bright green instead. This is with the Asperus Apex Ephemera that I have on the Articula loadout. You can get that from the, it's come in with the Operation Belly the Beast Clan event, which we've had run as of now, April 2025. We've had it run twice so far. It might come back. But yeah. Sacred Vessel, quest item, the Steadfast Bust. This is a Twitch drop. These Hex Noggles here, I believe these came from finishing the Hex quest. Nightwave craft decoration from Nightwave. Kitchen boiler, random just decoration there. Zerman item you can buy. But yeah, just random whatnots here. Some kind of quote-unquote doll theme with like the noggles and the plush. Others just random like knickknacks. So yeah, I got that on my two types of shelving here. Now the downside for the this Serpentine Chair shelving is the items you have for 2 of the 3 shelves, the bottom, the middle, you can't have them that big, unfortunately. Like this is scaled up as large as it goes already. So the size that so I had to shrink these noggles, the Hex Noggles, pretty significantly. I had to shrink these 2 noggles, Stalker and Lotus, pretty significantly. And then I used to use shorter, more flat items to fill in the rest of the shelving. But yes, up here, so other space I have, random posters. It doesn't really matter what you have up here. You probably have some random posters just sitting in your inventory right now. You can just throw up here Jade Quest, Tenno Focus Schools. This one, it was technically a free poster. I think this was actually a bonus item from buying something from the Warframe store. If you want, you can fill up your whole wall with just a bunch of fish trophies. You can have just only that if you want to. It would actually probably look rather nice. But I wanted to throw that up, the fish trophy thing up there as an example you can throw up here. Another thing I liked, going kind of along the lines of like a dive bar type theme, is having a bunch of things that look like stickers or posters kind of stacked on top of each other. Zariman has some great items for these. Just various posters that you would see like in the classroom. So collages, horse, biology crafts, illustrations. I actually have these shown in another part of the housing I have right now. A bunch of these. But just stacking a bunch of these, just like art displays, other posters, helix, whatever, stacking them side by side on top of each other, it's actually going to look rather nice. But that's mostly that here. If you see the online stuff here, the online poster collage, I believe this is also a bonus item that came from the Warframe store. Did not cost any platinum. But I don't know if that's ever going to the market anytime soon or not. Also, what was showed off earlier, display Argyle. Put whatever you want in there. That is from Barrow. But yeah, there's a great deal of options. I just kind of Tetrised everything in here so they kind of fit all nicely in together size-wise. But whatever you have in there, throw in whatever you want. Like I said, you probably have a fair amount of displays from just random stuff earned in-game or from events. Like this Hero Duviri display. This is a Nightwave. You can buy this with Nightwave creds right now. That's a fairly new item. Maybe you have a Cave Community display from like a Twitch shop or something else. Pride displays. You might have by now a bunch of online posters if you've been doing the Technosite Coda stuff. Throw up a bunch of those if you want. Various Prex cards, other items. Like the worm and This Is What You Are. These were actually platinum items, but I did earn them in a Twitch drop. They actually, it was from I think it was the Lotus Tenno Bomb gift I got last December. You might have a bunch of these Warframe 1999 displays from the market. I believe these were 1 credit each, hence why I have nearly 200 of them. These portraits, paintings from Zariman. These other displays, poster displays, also from Zariman. There's a great deal you can put back here for just random posters and whatnot. And hopefully we eventually get like a band poster from Flare/Temples band, because that would look really awesome right here. Getting one of those. Hopefully that'll come as a future item. I don't think it's available right now, but yeah, that is what I have for our bar design. Next build video I am currently farming for. It's going to take a great deal of farming, but it's currently a work in progress, so we'll see on that one. I'll probably have some guides or other build videos before then, but yeah. So we now got our distillery plus bar. And yes, I'm putting a pregnant Warframe behind the bar. But yeah, thank you guys for watching, and have a good night, morning, evening, wherever you are. Later.